to talk to the Managing Director of eSicknote. Now, I know a lot of you would like to play rookie, are probably wondering what this conversation is all about, so do stay tuned. His name is Simphiwe Segaetsho, and the first thing he's going to tell us is, why on earth are you a Pirates supporter? Because we can see the Pirates shirts underneath your jersey.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Nah, once a Pirates, always a Pirates. We're the biggest team. I'm the #1 supporter of Pirates, and yeah, I love it. So I'm always wearing something that's got Pirates on it.
I tried. That one I can't help.
Yeah.
But let's talk about eSicknote. I mean, the name on its own is really captivating.
Yes.
What are you actually bringing to market?
Basically, where the story starts is, you know what, as a university student, one came across, you know, the need to be rescued for an exam or a test or something like that. And I just saw a lot of opportunity there, because lots of people are actually abusing the system and people wouldn't study, and, you know, and I thought about it over the years. I thought to myself, you know what, there must be an opportunity in here. And then of course the paperless aspect of things came into being, and we started thinking, you know what, we could actually help save the environment at the same time, you know, get people technologically up to scratch, because clearly the way that things are going now are going the paperless way, the electronic way. So basically that's where the idea came
So practically speaking, I am legitimately sick.
Okay.
And I go and I see my doctor.
Yes.
With eSicknote, what happens between me and the doctor post the consultation?
Okay, basically the process starts pre-consultation from your perspective as the patient. So the doctor would have previously signed up for eSicknote, and he takes a conscious decision that he will now issue electronic sick notes and later on prescriptions as well.
Wow.
So when you get to the surgery, the first thing that happens is you'll be asked, will you need a note? And if you say yes, we do a quick registration of you onto eSicknote as a patient. By the time you go to the doctor, all that the doctor has to do on their mobile phone, on their tablet device, or on their PC, they can easily recall your name via your ID or your email address or your name, and then basically they can issue you a sick note in 20 seconds flat.
Now, one of the original problems from the first scenario, when the lot of us were playing rookie with sick notes, is that the sick note could be frauded, and it could be a fraudulent sick note.
Exactly.
Does the technology take away that element of insecurity around sick notes as we know them?
Exactly. One of the first things, you know, a sick note is basically a paper document. As soon as someone steals the sick note pad, they can issue themselves with sick notes. So basically what we do at eSicknote is, our primary job is to ensure that the person who says they're a doctor is a doctor. That's the first thing that we do. And then we basically give them access to the technology itself. So the technology within itself has got security measures that do not allow anyone else who's not that doctor to basically breach and go in and issue a sick note. Even if they did, the doctor would get an email notification of the fact that someone has breached, and he can actually declare the sick note as being fraudulent on the system itself. So now we've got a mechanism through which if the patient takes a paper sick note to the office, because we can actually issue a PDF format sick note, if they take that sick note to the office, they can scan it. All the office has to do is to scan it to verify it. So no more calling the office, no more checking if the doctor is legit, no more checking if the number of days given is the correct way. All you have to do, take your phone, download a QR code reader, scan that, and it will tell you exactly the information that the doctor actually issued.
So all the rookie players, this is not good news.
It's over.
It is over. All right,
Yeah.
but let's talk about how you've been received in the market. I mean, this sounds like a phenomenal idea, and solving a real life issue, not only in South Africa but around the world. What's the market been like?
Well, the market, we only now starting to actually go to the market, but what the reception that we've got so far has been actually phenomenal. People have actually been very impressed. I think the scanning actually gets to them, because as soon as they scan, it's like, wow, this thing is real, you know. But the doctors who are actually seen it, it's going to be very convenient. And I know, you know, when we look at the market that we thought we were going to actually have, we were looking at, you know, maybe young doctors only, but we have had some very older doctors who are actually saying they wouldn't mind using it. So we're just trying to say, we're trying to take technology into that medical space and actually say they shouldn't be technophobes. They should actually embrace this technology. It's going to save them a lot of work in the back end in terms of verification with the prescriptions as well. It means no more calls by people to verify whether the doctor who issued this is a real doctor or not. It means a lot of convenience for them in their back office as well. It means they're going to be taking less calls, less emails, and all that type of stuff. So of course it is an exciting project to embark on.
Now let's talk a little bit about growth. I mean, you'd already mentioned the fact that there could be a potential expansion into prescription as well.
Yes.
Talk us through some of the big ideas that you guys are playing with.
Yeah. Okay. Well, basically, you know, the first step is to get the technology right. We just want to get it to a point where it's functional enough, and doctors are using it and they're comfortable with it, and for the business as well to actually say, here's an easier way of doing things. We can get these things, we can store them, and we're also taking care of the environment. I mean, when you think about it, a surgery can issue, in terms of sick notes, up to about maybe an average size surgery, about 4,000 to 5,000 be it prescriptions or sick notes in a month. And if you take it down to the number of trees, it's actually a lot of trees. So we're actually encouraging as a paperless way as well of doing things, other than the fact that it's convenient, it keeps your record. You can, if a patient calls you and says, please resend me this prescription, I lost it, or my husband washed my pants and the prescription was in there, you understand, that type of stuff. So we're basically saying, this is the future, this is where we're going anyway. So we might as well start to take that step now, and we're better to start than South Africa. Let's lead the world. We know there's nowhere else where it's being done, but that's exactly the impetus that we need to actually say, you know, let's take it out.
So you're in a really exciting space right now, but if you had to rewind and you had to start all over again from ideation, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Right now, you know what, I do not think so. The reason being, we have played with the idea for a long time, and we've had many restarts. We were issuing sick notes in 2014. That's when we actually started. But you know what, there were a few things that we were uncomfortable with, and we said, you know what, let's be brave enough to actually take a step back. You know, let's not be afraid of the competition. Let us do what we think is going to be the best product to take out to the market. And that's precisely what we did. So right now, off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything I can think of in terms of going back to the ideation of the whole thing and starting all over again. But of course, there are, you know, the places where you think, you know what, we can position it to sit this way so that, you know, in future that's where we go. But those are things that we are still to implement rather than starting all over again.
So today we're at the Innovation Hub, we're in Pretoria, and basically the hub known as an incubator and a home for up and coming innovators and entrepreneurs. Once you come out of the hub and you're on your own, give me a sense of where are we? What are you doing in the market? What's the size of eSicknote? What's the big dream that's playing with you and your team?
Okay, well, in South Africa alone, we are talking in the region of about 33,000 GPs, and we're talking about 20,000 or so specialists who are actually allowed to issue notes in one capacity or another. Then we've also got doctors as well, nurses as well, who are actually allowed. So the market is quite big. I mean, I don't really have a figure on the nurses themselves, but if you just look at the doctor and specialist population of about 55,000 in the country, it's quite a sizable market if you look at our business model. But the overall aim is not to be afraid of the world. You know, we have to say it's high time South Africans had the audacity to actually go into market and not be afraid of, you know, growing their ideas and thinking, you know, every entrepreneur is told when you go for an application, where else has this thing been done? No, they shouldn't be afraid to actually say, we're South African.
And this is the
first time that this thing is being implemented, at least in the way that we are doing it, and we shouldn't be afraid of that. So basically the world is our oyster.
Simphiwe, where do you draw your energy from? I mean, you are like bouncing around here.
And I'm actually not feeling well today, but it's okay, it's fine.
Did you get a sick note? I had to do that,
Let's not even go there. No, but I don't know, I just think it's you know, the incentive is to leave your footprint in the world. You know, I think that's the biggest driver. I think I want my kids to say, you know, my dad was a great person because, you know, he did this and he did that, and he wasn't afraid of actually facing the world. And I think I'm very positive about Africa. I'm very positive about Africans, and I think that you know, every day when I wake up and I think, you know what, I've found my niche and this is where I want to go, and I say everyone else can't do it. That's where I get my energy from. So I go there all the time saying, how can I go there? How can I penetrate the market? How can I give the market a great product that they're going to be able to use and say, you know, our lives are better today than they were yesterday. You know, so that's basically where I am.
So there's a lot of young entrepreneurs who are watching the show and perhaps haven't found the fire within themselves. And if you were to be in a position to share some of your own insights and the things that you think without them you would not be where you are today, what would be some of those tools that they could deposit into their own toolkit?
Well, I think the first thing is in terms of where what you have to do. I mean, firstly, you have to be passionate. And I know it's almost cliche that you have to be passionate, but you have to be passionate. You have to be disciplined about what you're doing. So there's passion. If you're passionate, but you don't have the discipline to actually sit down and carry things out, you will not get things done. I mean, if I were to tell you the ups and downs that we had, they've been crazy. But, you know, one of the things that I actually come across a lot is entrepreneurs who just say, I don't have the idea. And I always say to people, what discomforts you? There are so many things that make you uncomfortable. For me, the key is to try and find, is there a solution to that? Is there a way in which I can remove this pain? Because if I'm feeling it, someone else is feeling it.
How do we commercialize your discomfort, right?
You understand what I mean? How do we actually commercialize? So that's the school of thought that I come from, that to say, if you remove pain, if you make someone's life easier and you can make a living out of it and you're passionate about it and you're disciplined about it, there's a future for you. So that is what I can actually tell the youth, to actually say, think about what gives people problems and think of how you can solve it. That's where the money is.
There you have it, guys. The managing director of eSicknote. His name is Simphiwe Segaetsho, changing the way we have traditionally approached and understood sick notes, not only for the workplace, but for convenience all around. One of the key highlights from the conversation is identify your discomforts and look for opportunities to commercialize it. Thank you so much for making the time to join us for this conversation. Now, remember that if you want us to come to you, the Young Money crew to come to you, all you need to do is just follow me on Twitter. It's @TheRealNozi or @CNBC Africa. Don't forget the hashtag, it's Young Money 410. Let us know how you're changing the economic landscape of your country and your continent. Until next time, goodbye.